We're back to English. Okay.
Minute.
Okay.
Okay, we can start whenever you'd like. Now I don't know if you heard me. Mary, we are good to start whenever you'd like.
Hey, Mary. If I have time, can I just pass out that worksheet where I come up with your
Okay,
reserves?
thanks.
Sure.
Just so.
I thought Paul had passed. Paul
No.
had passed that out.
Did he?
I thought it was,
Yeah, it was
Worksheet.
in, it's in the,
it was in the packet.
Well, so let me know if you have a worksheet for how I come up with the reserve.
this,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so when we're talking, you're not.
Yeah.
Looking. Is that what? Yes, ma'am. That's the southern thing.
And you are good to go, Mary, when you'd like.
And you can start when you're ready, Mary.
Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is the Community Preservation Act Committee. It's February, if you can believe it, February 1st of 2023. It is just about 5:01. And I'm calling the meeting to order. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 18 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. And onto the agenda. Number 2 on the agenda is the approval of previous meeting minutes, and we do not have any today, so we are, I know Natasha's working on it, so at some point we will have the minutes to review and take care of getting them onto the website. Item number 3 on the agenda is the Affordable Housing Trust. And I'm going to let Carolyn
With Tina.
take over.
Tina, can we hand out your handout? Yes.
yeah,
I know, right?
Paul sent that out too, so I think,
But I figured it'd be
Yes.
easier if I blew it up to make it a little bit easier on our eyes.
Yes, it was hard to see.
great.
Thank you.
Paul's already wearing glasses.
Mhm.
He's a youngster.
Thanks, Tina.
Wow.
I want to thank, while you're passing this out, I want to thank Tina and Carolyn for the work that they've done on this, because I really think it's been a lot of work, number one, and I think it's information that we've never had on the Affordable Housing Trust before, and I think it's very helpful, and I would hope that we will continue to do this as we move along next year and the year after that, so thank you very much for working with Tina on this.
Well, the short and sweet version of this is what the committee asked to see, and rightfully so, is from the time when the CPC committee started to help fund the Affordable Housing Trust, what were the awards, what has been spent, and what is the remaining balance. And so that's, the last couple of years, at least, when I've been doing this, I presented you a proposed budget for the Affordable Housing Trust, but that includes non-CPA income and expenses. And that was a little confusing for the committee. We always presented a prior balance, and so we always presented the remaining funding that was available to be funded, so that we reported every year what had been spent. But with Tina's help, actually leadership, this chart shows you explicitly every year the CPA award amount and the money that has been expended, and then the total amount unreserved for use. So you can see each year, some years had large, what Tina's labeled closing costs, which is funds towards the development of new, under our categorization of programs, funds towards the creation of new housing. So you can see those down below. Some were the purchase of properties and some were contributions to other development entities that were developing whole new projects like the Village at Nauset Green. The HELP program is our rental assistance program, and the HELP, I said that backwards. I always want to say it backwards. The HELP program is our program for providing support for people that are willing to have their houses as affordable houses for a certain period of time, to take care of rehab issues, windows, roofs, HVAC, septic, etc. And then the RAP program is the rental assistance program. So supporting people who are need help to stay in rental income. So you can see each year what was expended and then what was remaining. Some years we spent larger amounts than we had because we used reserves from prior years. For example, fiscal year 17, when we made the large contribution to Penrose, and fiscal year 19, similar contribution. So that's what the picture looks like. So the total unreserved is 1,285,274. And the total CPA contributions to date over the, I think this is 12 years, is 3,893,450, of which we are very grateful. I'd be happy, and Tina, I'm sure, would assist if there are any questions.
Joanna?
Hey, not a question, but thank you so much. I think this is amazing. If this were another category or something, one might say, why do you have all this unspent money? And I know why. I mean, and it's
Right.
so critical to have that reserve because, as we've talked about before, something comes up, you have to move fast and it's going to be a lot. So this is great.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly correct. If, as you can see from the large closing cost expenditures, when they happen, they're quite large. The other thing that's a function of this is that, as you know, we hired the housing coordinator last year who, in a very positive way, spent a lot of time with the acquisitions that the town did last year for various properties. And this year, she's spending a lot of time developing new programs that we will be implementing. So some of those reserve funds will also go towards some of those new programs that we're looking forward to being able to do.
So the amount that you are asking for this year is on the far left side.
400,000.
400,000.
Right.
And at the moment you are anticipating spending 100,000 for the help and 150 for the RAP. Is that correct?
Approximately, yes.
And that leaves by subtracting those two from the 400, that leaves the bottom figure of 150, which
Right.
would go into
Into the reserve
reserve if it was.
or into other programs that could be developed
Mhm.
even during this year.
But you haven't not anticipated, but they're not specific.
They're not on this sheet
Right, right.
specifically because we're just showing the two programs that are in existence now. But as you recall, the sheet that I handed out last time
Had an assortment. of
had an
things.
assortment of programs that we hope will be underway this year.
Mhm.
And so would draw in addition to that money.
Mhm.
Yes.
Are there any other questions from anybody here? As you know, this is the last article that we had, the last submission that we had of the 8 that we began to discuss, and we did not take a vote until today. And so I'd like to know whether anybody would like to make a motion to approve the request from the Affordable Housing Trust for the 400,000 that they are looking for this year.
I will. Move to approve the application of for the Eastham Affordable Housing Trust request for funding to support housing programs for $400,000.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Dan?
Yes, I will second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Carolyn?
Aye.
Eileen, 2, Mark, 3, Dan,
Aye.
4, Janet,
Yes.
5, Joanna,
Aye.
6,
Aye.
7, and 8. That's 8-0.
Thank you.
That can be, if people have the original spreadsheet that Carolyn had put together and we've been sort of working on. So I'm putting down that the approval was for 2/1/23. And it was 8-0. Ed is not here. I don't know whether he'll be showing up later or not, but Ed is not here at the moment, so that is.
I think as I recall, he had said at the last meeting, it's basketball games
He
and
said something, some
will be coming late.
sporting events were coming up. so,
he
yeah.
coaches basketball.
Yeah. So again, I want to thank Tina and I want to thank Carolyn. We've never had this information before. And so I think it's been very helpful for all of us to see and to understand and to agree or disagree. In this case, we agreed. And as I mentioned earlier, I'd like to continue to keep the information moving along. So we would have this information for this year as we meet again next year. Onto the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the conditions and I had passed out some of that information at the last meeting. The I think it was also updated and Paul had sent it out in one of the emails that he passed out. We need to do it for all of the 8 submissions. So I'm going to start at the beginning with the submissions that we agreed to. With the numbers, I should say, that we agreed to. So let me see, the first one is the Wiley Park. It's the 55,000. And Paul had given me, I haven't had a chance to really look at it. Paul had given me some of the conditions that we've used in the past for some of our submissions. And I'm looking at the Wiley Park one here. Let's see. I had 1, 3, 5, 6. I have some additional ones that aren't on this sheet here. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. That's down here. 23, yeah, 22, that's on here. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And I had, let me see, you had 3, 6, 9. I also had 1, 1, 5, and 8. Let me get my conditions out here.
I'm not sure 8 is correct.
I'm looking to see what 8 was.
It is that it's an independent
Oh,
not-for-profit
that's not, yeah,
corporation.
not for profit. So
That's not,
that's not,
right.
yeah, I had a question mark, so I wasn't sure. So that gets crossed out. What was 5? That's grant funds should be dispersed upon satisfactory completion or at intervals. So why wouldn't that be? Why wouldn't that be one?
It can be,
It can be.
if you all want it to be.
Right, I think, well, that's the way the grant funds are dispersed. Or at intervals as approved, so it would seem to me that should be
Well, sometimes we use number one,
And I have number one on here too,
right? They're very similar.
so, let's see. Graphics, so one prior to the release. That, you know, the number one looks like it's almost finished, whereas number 5 is more ongoing.
It's different.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I would like to have 1 and 5.
Sure.
So for Wiley Park, and please, everybody make comments one way or the other. I have 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26.
So the number one, the project budget would be the material that I submitted for the application.
And there's no other source of funding, is there?
No,
No, so
Yeah.
would one be applicable? I
or
mean,
one
it's,
is,
it's, if we've already had the budget, the project budget submitted with the application,
or
we don't
it's,
need it again.
or it's applicable and it's complete.
Expenditure of all funds awarded and all other sources necessary to complete.
And the expenditure,
Yeah,
okay. The two isn't,
no, I don't have 2.
well, I mean, two in that one.
Mm.
It would sort of one B.
Do
Right.
people feel that if we do 5, we don't need to do 1, given the project that we're talking about?
Well, one is that we have to have a budget,
Right,
and I think one is important.
yeah.
To have a budget.
I agree.
So I think we have one, and then
And then
5 talks
is-
about the
is over
disbursement.
time period.
That's correct.
Yeah, completely,
Mhm.
you know, for the expenditure, so this assumes that presumes that the money has been spent, so yes, we
Yes.
need that.
So I think we need 1 and 5,
So I have 1, 3,
right?
5, 6, and 9. And 22, 23. 22, 23, 24, 25. And 26. And I think I had for 25, 1 year, because that has a year attached to it.
This assumes that all of the equipment's gonna be.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
recommend,
Well, yeah,
I
should we
would recommend
2,
2 years.
2 years? Okay.
Just
2
given
years.
supply chain issues.
Supply and demand, it's called. Okay, so we are now. 1 for, on Wiley Park, 1, 3, 5, 6, 9. 22, 23, 24, 25 with 2 years and 26. Is that,
Okay.
is everybody okay with that? Okay, so that's off. And that's off. All righty. On to number 2, the town hall. I again had 1, 3, 5, 6. 1, 3, 5, 6. Then I also had you see, did we have town hall in here from before too? Let me see what this one says. 3. 1, 3, 5. 6. And 9. Correct. I had 9 for that. Which is 9 on here. Then I had 11 and 16. And then also 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 28. Yeah. They're all on here from before,
Well,
when we approved it last year, or a year before rather.
those were all on it. Okay. Can you repeat those numbers again, please?
So, it does not have 1, which we've already talked about, so I think that's important. That does have 2. Let me see what's 2. That's town hall. I'm not sure that. But
There aren't any other
yeah,
sources
I
of
know,
funds.
yeah.
So
I
it's
don't-
not
I don't think
applicable.
that that's applicable either.
No.
It's on here, but I don't think it applies. So it's, and we say we agree with 3. Then I had 5, which we've just talked about. I think that's important. Then, let me see. 6 is down here, which I agree with. 9 is down here. Then they had 19. What's 19?
Historic properties.
Standards of the treatment. Okay, 19. Oh, I had 19. I had 11. Before that, I had 11. Which they don't have.
Well, the town.
But it already does.
It already
Yeah,
does.
yeah, so
Yeah, so it's-
that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
So 16, what was 16? Well, that's a permitting and approvals. Should we have that, Paul, for the permitting and don't we need permitting and approvals?
Well, some of the work that we have to pay for may be for items that don't actually need permits.
Permitting, yeah.
Some of the
Mhm.
what am I trying to say?
Preliminary
Pre-development
work.
work, preliminary work.
Mhm.
Doesn't require
So-
permitting.
So.
We may
do-
need to pay an invoice to one of the consultants. That isn't actually anything to do with that needs a permit or something like that.
Yeah. But is that true for everything that you feel will be done with the town hall?
I
I don't.
I would say there's a good possibility that there'll be a cost for things that won't, there'll be, I guess, well, how am I trying to split? There's gonna be work done that,
Work done that will not need permits.
Right.
So if
correct.
you had this condition, then you couldn't pay for that.
Yeah, so we will take out 11 and, well, this is just me talking. So let me see. Then there was, I had 18 too. What's 18?
Historic
I-
preservation.
Yeah, not a CR, but a PR.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So should that,
And does it already have one, Paul? I mean, doesn't it already have, it has the old part of Town Hall is on the National Historic, it's I don't know the terms. It is.
meets the
So-
requirements of Mass
Yeah.
General Law?
Does it
I don't
need this?
know specifically if there is a PR on it. I don't know the answer to that.
Mhm. So under those circumstances, should we put it in or not? If we don't know.
Well, we find out.
We could find
Yeah,
out, but
yeah.
if we don't have one, I'm not sure we want that as an
I
added
agree.
time, process and expense.
Yeah, I agree.
I would not recommend it. But I would agree with 19.
I thought that,
19, we
yeah, I
agree
just
with.
thought that was one of the requirements
Oops.
of using historic preservation funds, but I can see why. Well, I don't know. I don't know,
Which
Mark,
one are
if
you
you know
referring to,
anymore.
Joanna? Which?
For
which-
number 18,
number
I just,
18.
that's what I just wonder when
Mhm.
it says it's part of the legislation.
That's Mass General Law. I don't know, it's not on the one that, it's not one of the conditions that we had.
Mary,
Yes,
Mary?
Dan,
if I could suggest you take 18 and then right after MGLC 184, comma, as applicable, period.
okay. Yeah, that's a good
Good
idea.
solution.
So we're writing in as applicable at the end of condition 18.
Correct.
Yep. Good idea. Thanks, Dan. Okay, so let me see, for this one, we've got 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 18, 19, 20, and 21.
Can I make a
Sure.
comment on 21?
Mhm.
I talked to Stuart Saganar of the Community Preservation Coalition, and he did say that there's somebody in Provincetown who's done this a number of times for Provincetown and other Outer Cape towns, and he's supposedly wonderful. But if we were to recommend that, it would cost some money that isn't in the budget of this. So I don't know where it would come from. Would we add, he said it's generally, like 10,000 or something. Would
mm.
we add some money? If that would be something useful, since the town doesn't have, on staff, historic preservation experts. That Stuart said that this person or somebody like that could also actually be very useful in the wording of the RFP for the work with the Secretary of the Interior stuff. So it's just
I
a
think
thought.
in their presentation, they had already planned to hire a consultant in the pre-work. And whether that's exactly this particular title of consultant or not, but I think that was already anticipated. I worry about using specific terms for this that may not be exactly what they're planning to hire. To Joanna's point, then that's going to increase the budget and we would have to add additional funding.
We've hired the consultant who's already been doing the
Feasibility study.
feasibility and the I can't talk tonight, the preliminary
Review.
Design.
report on, well, they surveyed the building and
Right.
put together a preliminary report, which is what the budget was based on. So they have experience with historic that the town didn't hire them specifically to ensure the work was done with the standards of treatment document.
Right.
So if we would have to pay them
Add to the
extra for
budget.
whatever
to
that,
pay
and I don't know exactly what that work entails, if it's more of like going down a checklist of here's the gut. So,
You're using this kind of gutter, you're using this kind of
Mhm.
railing, you're using this kind of
yeah,
fascia board.
Because I just wonder, you don't have it in front of you, but Paul just gave this to me, as I mentioned. And number 21 is on one of the conditions from last time.
And it's a recommendation, so we can leave it that way, because then it doesn't.
So
Yeah.
if it was in for before, should we just not add it
Yeah.
to what we're doing now?
well,
Or
The-
add it?
the condition is worded as a recommendation, but to Joanna's point, there isn't anything in the budget.
Mhm.
If it's gonna cost additional for the consultant to do this, there's nothing in the budget
To pay for
to
it.
pay for it. So I guess if the committee's comfortable with just understanding that's, if it's possible, we can do it. But if not, it's just
Mhm.
really gonna be,
Additional expense.
Or if it's
which we don't
somehow
have.
fit
So
in.
I guess there's no way, it's probably not gonna happen since there's no money to pay for
Right.
it.
I mean, we can't ask them to do something that requires additional money
Yeah.
without giving them the budget to do that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't know what that budget
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be.
Right, just what Stuart's recommendation was, that was a sort of a critical thing as far as the historic preservation piece and meeting the requirements of CPA for that, so.
I mean, we're obligated to meet the standards and we're gonna work with the consultant that's on board already.
Yep.
I know that the consultant that does work with a lot of towns, like that's his specialty. There wasn't anticipating to hire someone who was gonna, so we're,
Are we on the hook at all? Because it's listed under the submission town hall renovation before.
like I said, I think you could leave it. It's just
Right,
acknowledge
it's a
that this is
recommendation.
recommended.
I mean, I can't take it out. That was
Right.
approved. Yeah.
Right,
So you could leave it for this time, but understand that it's a recommendation
Yeah,
right.
that they can choose to ignore
yeah, yeah.
because they don't have the funding for it.
We can't ignore that the work has to meet the standards. It's just that hiring of a specialized person.
consultant.
is-
Right.
Mhm.
Item,
Right.
did you recommend 20 also?
Yes, I did.
Was that in last time?
No, it wasn't in last time.
Because I think some of the work, sometimes with historic preservation, I don't know this specific project, but sometimes there are only a very limited number of contractors that can do the specific kind of work that needs to be done. And if they're not willing to do it on a fixed price basis, particularly given what's going on with supply chain, I'm not sure that we can say that that's a requirement. We can recommend it, but I don't know that we can say it's a requirement.
Mhm.
right, and the wording for that one as well as 21 is, maybe that's why it recommended and not required.
Yeah.
The first 18 and 19 is required, you agree to do it.
You agree? Yeah,
2021 is recommended, so.
Right.
If,
Okay, so. So I'm back to the town hall and I have at the moment three, I'm sorry, 1, 3, 5, 6, and 9. 18 and 19. 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26.
I thought we agreed leave in 20 and 21
20, I'm
as
sorry. Yeah, yeah,
recommended.
Yeah,
and 18 is with the amendment as applicable.
yeah, I have
Yeah,
18.
okay.
I have 18 down here.
19, 20, 21.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and that's another, the 25 is again a year decision.
I would do
Should
two.
be two.
I'm sorry, what, Dan?
I would recommend 2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Completed.
I don't know, 2 years, is that going to be enough? 2 years with everything that's going on?
Not,
No,
I'm not in,
I think
right
that's
now, I'm
good
not in
grade.
favor of 2 years, but
I think
I think it might be, should be a little bit more.
That's so great.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
We've done 5-year contracts
Yeah.
before.
What are your thoughts, Paul?
Well, how does it work with the part one was already approved and is it, does the
Last-
time reset with a 0 now? I mean, hopefully it does. Because there's funds from,
This contract resets.
Yes, it's a new contract.
It's a new
I'm sorry, I
contract. So this one
didn't hear what you
starts now.
okay,
I didn't hear what you said, Dan.
This is a new contract, so it
Yes.
starts now.
Right,
I don't have a problem if you want to just put it at 5 years and be done with it. We're not going to change our attitude if it doesn't take, if it's not completed in 2
Hmm.
years. We're still going to leave the money there for them to take.
yeah. I'd rather have the 5 years there and get it done than to put in 1 or 2 years and not get it done, and then they come back and then we're dealing with a nightmare like we've had a couple of other situations. So I'm gonna put in, if 5 years, does anybody have a
Agree.
problem with that? Oh, yeah, okay. So, back to number 2, the town hall, we have 1, 3, 5, 6, 9. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 with 5 years, 26 and 28. Is everybody
Wait, wait,
okay
wait.
with that? And on to number 3?
I'm sorry, 28?
Yeah. Yep, that was on. That's on the list I see here, and it was before I saw that Paul's list here, I had 28 as well.
oh, you know what? I think
Yeah.
these are from last year. There were certain ones specific to last year's grants or the year of this
I
ICC.
see, yeah.
I think that had to do with the lighthouse repainting, that
Oh,
project.
because of not being able to get more than one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think because this was
I wouldn't do.
taken from, I just took the list
Oh,
from last,
okay,
so I think those are just,
I wouldn't do that.
so we'll take out 28.
Yeah, because I'm sure in the contracting world, it's
Yeah.
known that somebody's been selected for this. So why would somebody spend time writing up something that's going to be useless for their purposes?
Okay, so I'm going to repeat, for number 2, the town hall. Number 1, number 3, number 5, number 6, number 9. Number 18, number 19, number 20, number 21. 22, 23, 24, 25 for 5 years, and 26. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, who was the person that decided to put all these conditions in to begin with?
It took time. It took time to build them up.
Okay, on to item number 3, that's the historic properties, that's the 40,000. And let me see, we've had that, but I'm looking to see, we've had that, but there's nothing down here. Nothing listed on this for the historic.
Yeah.
In the
I didn't have
past
it
prior
last
survey.
year.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, so. I had, again, 1, 3, 5, 6. I had an 8 for this one. I don't know why I had an 8.
Because it's a historic.
Oh,
commission.
that's, yeah. No, the 8 is the grantee thing, not for profit.
Right.
Let me see, I had, they don't have any on there. I had 9. I had 9 for that one too. Yep. 20, I have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Question about number of years. 26. Should we see, in the past, that's taken him about 2 years, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put 2 years. Does anybody have a problem with 2 years?
No.
2 years. I mean, they already have the person that's going to do it, so.
This, yeah, it's a new person, but sounds like a very experienced.
Yeah, from
one.
Provincetown, so.
Yep.
You think 2 years?
That's fine.
Yeah, fine, okay. Thanks, Mark.
Can you reread those numbers that you?
I have 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 for 2 years, 26. And then I had, for some reason I have 27 and 28, and I've had that before. I know I remember talking to Paul about that. 27, yeah, that's if the language is provides for the town to recover the full amount if the project is not completed within so many years from the date if the funds first become available. I don't know.
I don't think we
I
need
don't think
that
we
one.
need that. That's my opinion. And what's 28? Prior shall provide, that's not that, we're not gonna get one of those either. That's where we're looking for more than one proposal. So I'm gonna cancel 28. So historic properties, 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 for 2 years and 26. Any deletions, corrections, additions, what
Sounds
have
good.
you, for number 3 historic property? We all set? On to number 4, the CPA administrative assistant for 40,000. Let me see, I have 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 22, 23. This is only for 1 year. So it's going to have to be renewed, not renewed, but discussed again next year.
Yes.
So I don't think 25 makes sense under those circumstances. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm taking out 25. And I had 26. That doesn't make any sense either. So, number 4, I have 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 22, and 23.
Sounds right.
Any comments from the Zoom folk?
All set.
On to number 5. Purchase of the 100 Cole Road, that's open space for 50,000. I've got a ton of them on here. Let me see what, do we have something on here for that? Open, oh, we don't have anything on here for open space. I have one. I have two. Shall not expend any grant funds unless and until sufficient sources of funding have been secured.
Yep.
To complete the project. I'd like your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I think two is good. I looked at, actually, one I think is not really needed because it's so much less than. And the application had the
Mhm.
proposed purchase price. So I think one is not very useful.
Okay,
But two, I think is good
yep.
because, and it'll.
There are an assortment of monies coming from different sources.
And it will be, and the other ones, there's another condition that says, you have to own it.
Yeah,
And so that when it closes, that'll be evidence of a number of these, but that's, I had 2 and 3 for
I have
sure.
three, yeah, I have three.
And I didn't have any more until 8. 8.
I
Wait.
have eight.
Wait, did I have 8?
I had eight.
It is yeah, we're an independent, not for
Mhm,
profit.
mhm, mhm.
And then I had 10, 11, 13.
Yep, I had those.
There's no mortgage, so 10, 11, 13, and 15 isn't really necessary either. I mean, you could put it in there, but there's already been a full appraisal that's way over that amount.
Mhm,
So it just seems 50,000 is such a small part.
mhm.
There is one already, so
So maybe we can, I agree with
Don't
you.
think we need another appraisal.
50,000 is compared to the total cost.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and so 15 has already been met.
So I had 16 too. Let me see.
16, there isn't any, it could be no disbursement until the property's been closed on. Would that be better language? It's not permitting and approval. It's a
But
It's a
going to be
purchase.
Conservation, so it's not as if you've got a septic or a well.
Right, there's
which would
nothing-
require
right.
There's no
Permitting.
permitting.
Excuse me.
No, there's just no
So
permitting.
16 is gone.
Right.
The problem with getting rid of 16 is they may need the 50,000 to close.
Um,
Right.
You're assuming that
no,
they have an
Actually-
excess of 50,000 over and above the purchase price so that they could be reimbursed. Are we correct in this, making that assumption?
there's going to be a very short-term loan through the compact, their land fund. So it'll be closed using the compact's Thompson Land Trust funds. And then the state, because the state won't give that 175,000 until it's closed either.
Okay.
So there'll be a loan for 225, the 175 and the 50. That'll be very
Fine.
short-term loans, we hope.
Then we leave it in, that's fine.
Yeah.
So are you saying 15 should be?
We're gonna
included?
leave it in. Yes.
Leave 15 in.
15 or 16? Which?
15 is already, you can be put in or not. That's the appraisal, which has already been done. 16 is all necessary permits and
I don't think it
approvals.
makes- I don't think it makes sense.
I don't think it makes sense either.
Yeah, we're gonna take out 16.
Yeah, take out
Okay.
16.
Take out 16. I have 16 out, but we're leaving it 15 in.
No.
We're taking 15 out too.
It's already been done. That was part of the approval process.
See the value of the property. Okay, so 15. So on to, I had 22.
Yep.
23. 24.
Not,
Let me see, grant must acknowledge, yeah. How are you going to do that?
well, the town is going to hold the CR.
Yeah, no, but as far as I'm looking at 24.
That's what I'm looking
um,
at. So,
Publicizing. And putting up one of the permanent signs.
right.
So I think that should be done.
Yep.
So 25, 24, I'm sorry, 24 stays in.
Yep.
25 is the,
Mary's installing all the signs, by the way.
I'm sorry?
You agreed you were gonna go around and install all the signs.
Yeah.
We've got someone who's really good at it. He's been putting in our ECF signs. He's very good.
So where were we, Joanna? 25?
23, 24, 22, 23, 24.
Right, they're all. there.
25, you can put in a year. I
Year,
mean, It
yeah.
better be done or
Yeah,
we
yeah.
lose. Yeah,
Put in 1 year for
1 year.
25.
yeah.
Then I had 20, well, it
26.
really isn't going to be anything left because that's not,
It's
it's
such
not,
a
it's not like there's going to be unexpended funds.
Right.
So,
But 26,
so 26 is not really,
no, 26 is the
is
final
the,
report.
is the report.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be the final
26
report
So 26.
is fine. There
and
won't
then
be
I
any
had-
money left, but
Let me see,
26 is fine. It's just,
the 27 is not appropriate
right.
Or 28 or 29.
and I
Yeah.
don't
Right.
have,
Okay,
and 20, no,
okay, so.
and 29 is not appropriate.
Right.
So I have back to 100 Cole Road, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
I think it was 4 in there.
4 is already, there's no, it's not matching. There's already,
Let me see, what was 4?
I mean, it's already been done. Dispersed after required matching funds are expended.
So 4 is
Does it
out.
need to?
2, 3. I had 5. No, that doesn't really apply either.
Yeah,
Then I had 6. What was 6? Oops.
Having a
grant
agreement.
Yeah, yeah, that's out too. So I have 2, 3, 8,
8.
9,
Um,
9.
I don't
10
know. We got it.
Is
It-
9, what's 9?
I'm not sure what would give 9.
Wellness.
To get the
regarding
funds.
this Project.
Yeah, I don't,
To Tina would be, they'll be I don't know, the purchase and sale, there'll be some documentation to
Mhm.
get the funds.
So I think,
It'd be the
9
closing agreement, probably, the purchase and sales.
So I think 9 should be in.
Directed
might wait
to-
Until it's recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's just saying,
PNS.
I think the intent of 9 is to make it clear, everything goes to Paul. Okay,
so Paul, you get it.
and
then
then he
give it to
decide
Julie.
what to do with it.
it really
Okay,
needs to go to Tina,
okay,
but I'm happy to walk it
Okay.
down to.
okay.
Okay, so
2, 3, 8,
2,
9,
3, 8,
10.
9, 10, 11, 13, 22, 23, 24, 25 for 1 year and 26.
Going once,
Are
going
you okay
twice.
with that, Joanna?
Yeah.
Okay, down to number 6, the Affordable Housing Trust. I'm looking to see. Let me see. I've got I had 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. You have, let me see. 3, 1. 3, 6, 9, 7. I have,
Because this process
What are your
works in
thoughts?
a different way than
Hmm.
we submit an invoice and then something's paid. That's why 3 is important. And,
I have 3.
right, and 5 is fine because
Yeah, I
that's the
have
one-time
5.
payment that happens,
And
After town meeting.
6 was on here.
right? That would be
6.
correct.
And not 9 was on here.
Sure. 17,
And let me see. Let me see, there's on here, there's 16. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. 17,
right,
22, I have that. 23, 24, 25, 26, 23, 24, 25, 26.
Was 25 included before?
It's on here.
Okay.
Hmm.
We,
It's
Yeah,
on here.
That
it shouldn't
says for
be.
reserve stuff, it
It's,
kind of,
it's on here, list,
Huh.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just telling you that it is on here from before.
Yeah, I'm not sure if 25 and 26.
They're
Alright.
both on here,
Mhm.
25
Yeah,
and
I know,
26.
Well, the funds, as we've seen, the funds.
just keep rolling over into the
Mhm.
reserve.
Yeah,
every year.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I think we were talking about, and we mentioned it when we were discussing the Affordable Housing Trust, the submission for this year. I think it would be helpful going forward if we got something as far as what was spent. But understanding that it's not closed out. Do you understand what
Well,
I'm saying?
like the report that Tina and I just gave you
Yes,
today.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
well, you'll get that every year
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So as I said, it's not as if the 400,000 has been completely used up within that
Right.
fiscal year, but.
But 25 is a different kind of thing. 25 says if you don't spend it in a certain amount of time,
Mm,
you have to give the money back.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't think.
And I don't think you
And
want
and I
that.
agree. And for some reason, it's on this list here from before, but I agree with,
And 26
and that's on here too.
yeah, and it's a
26.
similar thing because it's talking about unexpended funds.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
don't think 26 would be applicable.
So how do we make sure that? I agree to 26 is a final report. Number
Well-
26 is a,
With the trust, you're not getting a
No
final
final
report,
report.
you're getting an
I-
annual
all
report.
right,
yeah,
so.
annual.
So that's
how-
what,
How do we make sure that that happens?
It's very simple. You don't give them the next year request.
Right.
They
Oh,
get-
okay.
they'll give you an annual report. If the trust doesn't give you an annual
Yeah,
report, then
yeah,
you don't.
Then we won't approve next year's allocation.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, it would
okay.
be similar to this report that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's what we
Yeah,
were just
with
talking
some
about.
verbiage.
Yeah.
Of what the dollar amount was
Yeah,
spent on.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
maybe some highlights. or whatever.
Yeah. We do prepare an annual report every year. You've received it every year.
Mhm.
Because we prepare it for the town as well.
Mhm.
So there is an annual report every year. It's a requirement for the trust.
So we are. We are
We're
taking,
striking, we're taking out 25 and 26.
correct.
Thank you.
And they know, Carolyn knows that no monies until everything is. Till we get the report that we've just seen.
We get an annual report
Annual
every year.
report, Yeah.
Is
one and Okay.
two included?
Oh, I'm sorry.
1 and 2 included?
I have 1 and 2, yeah. Oh,
Um,
I had 1 and 2. I'm looking to see 2. 2 is on here for, oh no, that's for the housing.
No.
I'm sorry, that's for the Housing Institute.
yeah, I don't think 1 and 2 apply.
Let me see, let me look back again.
Yeah, 1 and 2
Yeah,
don't really make sense.
No, grant funds list, yeah, funding, that has nothing to do with it, yeah. So we are taking out. So I have left. 3, 5, 6. Why do I have
Excuse me.
3, 5, 6, and 9?
Yep.
Yep.
22, 23, 24. 22, I have some others down here too.
17.
17.
17, oh, that's right, I have a check mark here, I didn't see it, 17. 22, 23, 24.
That's it.
That's it. Now let's just go over it again. That's the number 6 submission, the Affordable Housing Trust. 3, 5, 6, 9. 17, 22, 23, 24. Is that? Everybody agree with that?
Correct.
Okay, number 7.
Main Street. Orleans.
All righty. Number 7 is 107 Main Street, that's Orleans. The 100,000. See, I had, let me pull this apart, this is driving me nuts. I had number 1 for that. And number 2. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6.
Excuse me, 4?
I
I don't know that they're required
Any
matching funds.
required matching funds are expended.
We'd not set, they have other sources of funding,
Yeah,
but it's
right,
not,
right.
it's not matching
matching.
funds.
It's not matching, you're correct. So let me see, I have 1, 2, 3, 5. Do people agree with 5? 6,
5 is tricky
yeah,
because,
Yeah, it's not gonna be built
yeah,
Right.
when you have number 5.
right. In other words, we'll be doing
Satisfactory.
funding at
Completion.
closing, but not when the project
So
is.
we could change it to closing rather than completion.
Well, I think some of the ones under purchase of real estate or construction apply more than item 5.
Right.
I have 1, 2, 3,
6.
6, I have 6, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 6.
Does it need 6? Is that routine? Our Board of Select Board would,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, thanks.
we always have to have a grant agreement or they can't get any money,
Um,
a contract,
Yep,
right?
yep.
and
9.
9, I have 9. Let me see. 8, yeah, 8. Okay, let me see, I had 10, do we have to certify that the property is free from any attachments?
No, they will have.
Will they have done that before we get involved? Or, I
Well,
mean,
they will have a mortgage, so they will have liens against the property. That's part of their funding. I think 11 applies.
the grant recipient must have legal, custody and control, I have 11 down here.
I'm not sure 10 applies.
Yeah, I agree.
No, 10 does not apply.
10 is not.
Right. And 12 does not apply.
Yeah, I
and
don't have,
13 does not apply.
12, I don't have 13. Um. I don't think there's a problem with 15, I mean. There's 100,000, that obviously the value of the property is a lot more than that.
And 14, that wasn't, not all of those units were
They're not all affordable,
mm,
so that does not apply.
I don't have 14. 15, I don't think 15 applies. Does anybody disagree with me on that?
I would agree. 16 does not apply.
The town is taken over that. 20, let me see, 22. I have 22. 23. Oops. Let me see. 24.
Yes.
How about 25 in number of years for this?
5.
5.
People comfortable with 5?
Yes.
25 is 5 years. Let's see. I don't think, let me see. Well, 26. should be done. Yes, that's just about everybody. And that's what I have. Is there
Carolyn,
any-
Carolyn, can I ask the question, Carolyn?
Yeah.
If we go back to number 14, are we on solid grounds when you said that not all of the units are affordable? On number 14,
Correct.
are we justified in giving money to a project where some of the units are not affordable?
Correct. As long as the monies that we provide are paid for allowable CPA expenses for units that are affordable.
So we don't need to clarify our award.
No.
I mean, as far as what the monies can be used for.
No, we clarified that in, wait a minute. It's one of the first ones.
I don't remember seeing it.
Number
Number
three.
three.
Number three,
Purposes
I think number
approved
three applies to what we're talking about.
and specific CPA language of affordable housing.
Yeah.
Okay,
So number 3.
okay.
The burden is on them. If it was ever a question, they would have to come show us paperwork showing where did
Right.
this money went to those units.
Right.
Yeah, all, and Dan, all 40B projects have affordable as well as market rate.
Yeah, my only point was, are we putting language in that says that this amount of funds is going to that purpose? And apparently number 3 does that.
Shucks.
Right, that, it, again, I think it's the prior under the general conditions that,
I'm fine with it then.
yeah.
So Mary, your list was correct.
It's hard to believe.
Not me.
I'm not sure of that. So back to number 7. I mean, the 107 Main Street. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11.
No, not 5. Not 5.
Oh, I thought because of closing.
Interval.
No.
We're not, because we can't change the
Well, unless we said the interval is closing,
the wording of the completion.
it won't be
closing.
completion
Yeah.
because the project won't be completed until well after our funds are distributed.
Distributed. So we will. Can't change the verbiage, so we're taking that out. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 11, 22, 23, 24, 25 for 5 years, and 26. Is that what we've got?
Yes.
Okay. And would you believe we're on to number 8? The Lower Cape Housing Institute, that's the 7,500. And I did have, you had this, Paul, you had that on here too. Let me see. This was 2, 3. You've got 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 2, 3, 24, 25, and 26. I've got that. 25. That should be 1 year because that institute is, it goes for 1 year. I mean, that's scheduled for a year. So that's 1 year. Back to the lower numbers, let me see. 22, 24, 25, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. And they have 6, 8, and 9, which I had. 6, 8, and 9. Then this one has 2 and 3 as well. 2 and 3. That's 2 is definitely 1. And 3 is definitely 1. And let me see. 4 is matching funds. That to me is appropriate because they are matching funds with an assortment of other towns. Let me see, why don't I have number 1? Do we want number 1 under this? It's not under here.
I mean, other than the budget they submitted with the
Yeah,
application, I don't think so.
they do, they submitted a budget. Is that acceptable, the budget that they submitted, Paul?
It's up to the committee.
Do people remember the budget that was submitted? It's listing all of the different towns that were giving
Right.
7,500
was a
and the CDP,
detailed
the
budget.
state funds, et cetera.
It was a detailed budget of the expenses.
Yeah, right.
I think
right.
that's sufficient.
Yeah. So to me, it's sufficient. So I'm taking 1 out. Okay, so I have, what, no, I'm doing the wrong one. I think I'm going nuts here. Taking 1 out. Okay, so we have, for the Lower Cape Housing Institute, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. 22, 23, 24, 25 for 1 year and 26. Any comments on that? Any additions, corrections, deletions? What have you? Okay, I think we're all set with our conditions. Let me see, let me put my packet together.
Would you like a motion to approve the conditions as listed?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I
Let me
move,
get my thing out here.
I move that we approve the conditions to the application contracts as discussed.
Do I have a second?
Do you want to have a vote to approve this for recommendation for the town meeting approval with the conditions?
What's the difference between what you're saying and,
Just because if we do it now, then we just have the vote for what goes into the town meeting warrant. Just trying to bundle this together, so it's like,
Right.
oh, okay,
so then it'll say the vote, because you're just kind of wrapping this all up, because it's like, here's the whole package and
Right.
you're voting
Mhm.
to recommend approval for all these projects with the conditions. And
For,
that-
for the warrant for town meeting.
Right, and then that vote can go into the town meeting warrant.
Okay.
so you're, because when we originally discussed each one and we voted on each one of these submissions, that's not what goes into the warrant?
Is I was just trying to wrap it all together in one.
Because
Vote.
we have different votes. I mean, we have different votes on different ones. Am I making myself clear?
Yeah, I know. I'm just,
Suggesting that we do one vote now, that we have all the conditions, all the applications. This is one vote to recommend what goes in the warrant altogether. So that,
So you want the verbiage added for the warrant?
I just need to put it in the warrant. It's gonna say CPC committee recommendation,
right, and
whatever
if,
the vote is numbered.
if each one is a little bit different, it just, in the warrant itself, it looks odd. As opposed to saying they were all approved 8-0.
Well, they weren't.
No, but today, they would all be being approved with the recommended conditions 8-0.
But I have a problem with that when that's not the case for when we discussed each item.
It's
And
fine. It doesn't matter. I was
Yeah,
just a
and
suggestion.
I was thinking about that too, since I
Yeah.
voted against one.
Right, right.
And that's the problem with bundling it, which is nice and efficient, but it's the problem with bundling when there's
Yeah.
a disagreement.
Okay.
on
Yeah.
putting,
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm not
you're right.
sure how to resolve that.
No, you're right. Well, I meant to go through each one and record it, so you'd still have,
Because I feel
Yeah.
that when we're not 8-0, we weren't 8-0 on these submissions. We shouldn't be showing 8-0 on the warrant.
no, I agree. What I meant. It's fine, we can keep the original votes,
Okay.
but what I meant was we would still go through, so if someone did. Not want to vote for it, we would still. I wasn't trying to
Yeah, no,
get
if
around
I-
that, I was
if
just
I
trying to
was to-
redo it, so it's less clean as of tonight,
Yeah,
here's the
yeah,
votes.
because if I had been against something, no matter which one it was, I don't think it should show 8-0 for that.
No.
I agree with you.
We're in agreement with that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so back to what we are voting on. Can we just vote on? Are we voting on accepting the conditions that we've just discussed? And approval of the submissions in total? But not on an
What were the
individual.
prior votes? Do
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
have
what- yeah,
recorded in the minutes the prior
Yeah,
votes?
Don't have all the minutes.
Well, it was, I think it was general agreement on everything except your,
Right, and
Dissension.
like today, I agree with the conditions on the one I didn't agree with for just thinking there should be funds from somewhere else. So I have a sort of a split. I'd vote for the conditions,
Yeah, yeah.
but
yeah.
not change my.
Right, understand.
Right, and I agree with
The
you.
question I'm
Yeah.
asking was the prior vote to recommend approval for town meeting. I think that's what it was. So those votes still stand. So tonight, I
right.
think we're just recommending approval of the conditions for each of the projects
Yeah.
to go in the contract with the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would prefer to just have the motion on the conditions.
That's what my motion
Yeah,
is,
and that's what I think is the appropriate under the circumstances.
right? That's my motion is
Okay, so Carolyn, you're making a motion.
to approve the
to-
conditions as
as
described
dis-
for each
Each-
of the
each of the
contracts for the
submissions.
projects.
Okay, do I have a second? Eileen? Do I have any discussion? All in favor? Carolyn,
Yes.
Eileen, Mark, Dan,
Aye.
Janet?
Yes.
Yeah, Joanna,
Aye.
Dave and me, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8-0. Now, is there any, go ahead, Dan?
No, nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to
Yeah.
ask. if you- So is there another vote that we need to take on any of this tonight?
No, well, the votes that we did before,
Yeah, I have them all
We'll
written
go
down here.
those will. That's what will
That's
be
what will be
recorded.
showing on the warrant.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the way I feel it should be. Yeah. So, so I have filled out my little sheet, my worksheet here, so to show that we approve the Affordable Housing Trust to 2/1/23, and it was 8-0. Okay. Now, let's see, we're down to number 5 on the agenda, the CPA cash. Let me pull up all my stuff here. So, as you perceived in the packet, and Tina also sent out, I'm gonna start out with the CPA cash balance as of 12/31/2022. And is there any comment, questions, et cetera, on the cash balance as of 12/31? And I have one actually, under the state reimbursement. We don't show yet the amount that came in from the 20 million.
That came in January.
January, yeah.
So it'll show up on your
So,
next report.
so January, the end of January, so that, just so people know, what shows here, there's 354, 653, excuse me. We expect to, we have received the amount coming to Eastham from the 20 million that Governor Baker signed off on, and that would give us a 451,243 when we, for the end of, well, it's the end of January already. And I just see that from prior month, we did get some additional expenses under the recreation. 13,000 or so. Because it's
Wiley Park.
Wiley Park, okay.
And the other thing is, Jay Camp turned in that paperwork and you guys voted
Oh,
and
yes.
I returned that 500 to the historic reserves,
Mm-hmm,
because that's where it came from.
mm-hmm. Yep. Let me see. Okay. So, does anybody have any other comments, questions on the CPA cash balance as of 12/31/22?
What was the item on the recreation that you just referenced?
It was, it's under it's what, Wiley Park? It's, under the disbursements, it's the fourth one down. We show, 127. And Tina said that she's received additional expenditures. I don't have the exact amount, but it's was 13,000, so it's
Right, right.
increased. It's increased by about 13,000 to 127 from the month before.
Okay.
Let me see. And did you get, I know you and I met and we spoke about the unexpended from the, what was it, something that you received from Art on the lighthouse?
Yes, we did get a final report on that project.
But I don't know whether you've received the paperwork from Paul.
I don't think I have received
No,
it.
Yeah,
so I need to send Tina a memo.
Yeah.
She has some paperwork to close out that project.
because that's, that was $2,223 that was unexpended, so, yeah. I'm on a mission to get this cleaned up.
It's always good to have a target.
And I'm looking at the other sheet,
Which sheet are you referring to now?
I'm referring to the
Projects.
projects that are still outstanding as of December 31. And I know we spoke to the gentleman that came to us to discuss the Housing Institute. And he was not aware of the financial situation that we asked him about. And Paul has said that he sent a couple of emails to them and no response, right, Paul? That's the 15. talking
Well,
about the
they
15.
they responded that they were working on it, but haven't got anything from them. So.
I mean, it might be just that they're taking towns one by one,
No, this is left over from 2 years ago.
what's left over. Well, then,
It's left over, it's the 15,000 that adds, it's the 7,005 for 2 years.
okay.
That added up to the 15, and that they haven't asked us for payment.
But it was cooperative. This was part of a regional,
Oh, yeah. yeah.
right? So maybe they're taking from one town and then the
No,
second
But
town.
those institutes are over.
Yeah, okay, get her back.
No, I'm just saying the institutes are completed. They're
Yeah.
a time frame.
Yeah,
It's not forever and ever.
okay,
I mean, they came
Okay,
to
'cause
us
they're
for another
still-
7,005 for this year.
because they're ongoing, okay.
So,
Interesting.
The leftover from 2 years ago?
yeah.
I don't think we take that action now. I think we give them a chance to to respond to the emails that Paul sent them and the gentleman was just here. They've had a lot of turnover in their finance department and I'm sure we engage their attention.
And they've moved offices.
Yeah, they're in the process
Yes,
of
they have
moving.
moved off, they moved from Eastham to
I
Orland.
think a little bit of, but if it goes beyond the end of this fiscal year, I think that
Yeah.
would be a real problem for next year's funding.
I know, I just, even though they have moved, these institutes were finished before they moved.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, and it just seems to me that they should be they're interested in our money and they should be accounting for it properly. And if they haven't used it, then we get it back to use for something else. That's it's just frustrating to me.
All of us.
Oh, that's right. And I know we mentioned Cindy Nicholson is on the storage vault and Jackie was going to put something together for because the 580 Massasoit is over and done with. Not that that's a large amount of money, it's only 380, but it needs to be closed out. So have you heard anything further on the vault?
Yes.
Mm.
It's almost done. I have recommended to Cindy that she doesn't close anything out until every last
Yeah. It's paid for.
every last thing is done, just in case something pops up at the last minute that she needs. So, but it's 99.9% finished according to Cindy, so.
Oh, good. So does she think that, because right now, the last accounting has over 10,000 left. So it doesn't sound like they'd be spending, you never know, but.
Yeah, but you
10,000.
never know. So that's why I just said,
Yeah,
just.
yeah, oh, yeah, oh, I
just
agree.
told her,
I
make
agree.
sure, make sure everything's done to your satisfaction
Yeah.
and it's signed off and there's nothing, because those last minute things will creep up, so.
Any comments, questions, discussion on the outstanding programs that we are talking about here? Okay. Let's go on to some of the work that Tina nicely did for us. Let me see, I'm trying to think what to start with here. Why don't we start with the top thing says town accountant worksheet estimated CPA revenue for fiscal year 24 and reserve amounts. So I'm gonna let Tina talk about it because I met with her because I had, and it's you could see some of my questions from before. I had all sorts of questions. And she was very nice and went through all the numbers with me, but I'm gonna let her. She's responsible for them and does a good job, so I'm gonna let her discuss it with us and tell her how she arrives at what she gets here.
So, thank you, Mary. One of Mary's first questions was something that I was already hoping that I could present to you guys. And she asked, how are the reserves and the CPA administrative expenses that we vote in the warrant, how do we come up with that? And I just kind of wanted y'all to understand that process a little bit. Because we all are voting for these projects that are going into the warrant. And we're talking about the reserves that we're going to use in FY 24, but we're not even close to setting the tax rate. So I have to estimate this. And what I do is I take last year's commitment. When we send the tax bills out, we have a CPA commitment that we're going to get X amount of dollars. I take that commitment and multiply it out and increasing it. And it brings me up to a certain number. Then I take that number and we really, really are very lucky in Eastham that most everybody pays their taxes. But there are, things happen and some people are late or don't pay. So I multiply that number by 0.98 and that gives me an estimated local revenue. So that's what I'm thinking that the revenue we're going to bring in, but then I have to take into account, we've got that state match. Now, I put a pretty good amount of money in there for that state match, but as you know, that state match can vary from year to year. So I add the local estimated and the estimated state revenue to get a total. And this year, my total is $1.1 million. Once I have that number, I get 10% of that, and that's what makes up the reserves that we vote on and are voted at town meeting. I divide that up into the 4 categories. Then 55% of that is your unrestricted, and 5% is your CPC administrative that we can use for different items. So this is how I come up with that number. Like I said, we're not setting the tax rate until July to get a true number, but this calculation has always been extremely fair to the CPA and has always worked out. So we take this number.
Excuse me, Tina, can I ask you a question on the
Yes.
worksheet? Under the reserve amounts, there are the 4 categories and it says budgeted reserve.
Mhm.
Is that the unrestricted
Yes,
reserve?
ma'am.
Okay. So that could be unrestricted.
Mhm. Sorry about that.
That would just be the terminology we might be more familiar with.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we have these totals, and this is the thing that we always seem to forget to vote on, and we have to come back in the summer. So I worked on a spreadsheet or a worksheet over here, so you could see them. And what we can go ahead and do is vote on them tonight. So we can turn all this into Rich and he can record it for the warrant.
So I do have some comments and some questions, because I'm starting at the top, the 9/12/028.
Mhm.
And that's sort of, I'm comparing it or looking against it with the CPA cash balance that we had earlier looked at. And so the 9/12/028 is, let me see, for 23 is sort of close to what we've already received times 2. In other words, we've received some tax collections, essentially half. So that times 2 is about what we would probably receive for the full year.
Mhm.
And that equates to the 9/12. So then you took the 9/12 and multiplied it times 1.25 because you expect it to increase a little.
Mhm.
And that's how you got the 934. And then you, because of the tax liens, unpaid taxes, you multiplied that times 98 to get the 916,132.
Yes, ma'am.
So now we're down to the state revenue. And this is where my question is. What figure did you use? Now I'm looking again at this year, we know what we've received from the state. Right? We've received 451,243. We received the state match and we received additional monies from the 20 million, which
Mhm.
added up to 451,243. So I'm not sure. And maybe that has nothing to do with how you calculate it. What did you use to get the 228,007 for the state revenue?
I want to say, Mary, I wouldn't have used both payments. I think I would have just used the first payment.
That was one of you're talking about, because the 20 million isn't the amount that we received, the match that we received from the 20 million is not something that we're going to receive.
No,
We don't know what we're going to receive.
no, and that's why I always try to keep this number a little
Yeah,
low
right,
because we
right.
don't know.
Yeah, so far this year, we've received 354.
Mhm.
So is that what you used?
No, I would have used a number from FY23, and I'm wondering if I used whatever, because in
You don't mean, you mean FY 22?
no, I'm sorry, 1 second.
No, take
I
your time.
think FY 23 local revenue times. Without having my workbook right in front of me,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Can I come back to you with that?
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't want to tell you the wrong
Yeah,
thing.
no, I don't, I was thinking. Because one of my questions was with the amount that we received from the match of the 20 million is not something that we normally get.
Normally
No.
get.
No,
So, that's not something that we can rely on.
right.
So the match that we did receive, and that goes up and down, well, actually, that was one of my other questions that you probably answered here, the 497 from last year. Right now, we've received 354 in match. Actual match. For as of, for this year, fiscal year 23. 3, 5,
So Mary,
4,
I just used my calculator and what it is
okay.
exactly what it says. I'm not trying to guess the state match by looking at what we did.
Oh,
I
okay.
multiply the FY 23 local revenue, that 912
Mhm.
up at the top
Yeah, oh,
times
yes. Mhm.
0.25.
Oh,
That's how I got
okay,
that number.
okay. See, I was, my problem
You
was I
were
was.
going back to the state match, trying to
Yes,
figure out
yes,
that.
yeah, I was
yes.
trying to equate the state match with the 228 and everything every
Yeah.
calculation I did didn't work.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay, so now I know. So so you've took the 912 times a quarter
Mhm.
essentially and came up with a 228.
Yes.
Okay. So this is 1/4 of local CPA. Okay,
And just and while we're looking at this, the state match. In FY 22, we got extra money, in
I
FY
know.
23, we got extra money.
right, yeah,
But if you see FY 22, we got 497,
right,
where in 23, we only got 451.
right.
That number
It
is,
really fluctuates.
yeah, so you don't really want to focus too much on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. And
We're very thankful for it, though.
oh, yes, right. We'll take everything they will give us. But that's terrific because I was going ballistic here trying to figure this out. So we are down to, are there any questions from people as to how this is done and the figures that we've arrived at? So this is what's going to be showing up in the warrant for our town meeting in May.
Yes.
Any questions?
Well, we need a motion to that.
Yes,
effect?
yeah. I think we need a
Right.
motion. Yeah.
We typically do, and
Yeah.
that's the motion we typically forget to do
Yes.
and until the last minute.
Yep.
So what would be the exact? I don't have last year's notes, but the wording, Paul, is to establish
motion?
reserves.
It's. Yeah, the vote is to recommend allocating the funds into the categories, into each category as Tina's laid out here.
Recommend allocating funds into
114,414 for
Into-
open space,
specific categories.
114,114 for historic preservation, 114,414 for affordable housing, 114,415 for active recreation, and 57,207 for CPA administration. And the remaining reserve is unrestricted at 629,276. I so move.
Is that,
You need to do the administrative.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I just had to hear.
I tried to say that. Good catch, Dave.
And the other thing is, I think that Mary and I talked, and I think that I'm hoping that everyone agrees that we do vote for, you vote for the projects and you approve the projects and you vote for the reserves and approve them. But another vote that I'm asking for this year is actually voting for the amount of reserves that we want to use for each project. I think that putting that in the warrant would be cleaner. Because in the past couple of years, it's kind of gotten,
Mhm. Well, let's take the
Misplaced.
first motion first.
Yep.
To do part A on your worksheet, which is what the motion that I made. If someone wants to second that,
I will second it.
okay.
Carolyn and Mary. All in favor of the motion as noted by Carolyn? Carolyn? You approve them? Eileen? Yes. Mark? Dan?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
I mean, Dave. Mary? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Right.
7-0.
And then Tina,
Okay.
what you're
Yeah.
suggesting is that we have a motion that the projects are funded from either the specific reserve or from the undesignated
undesignated.
fund balance,
Right.
yes, please.
as written on your sheet.
Mhm.
Would you like me to make that motion?
Yeah, sure.
And
I think we should just, in case, does everybody have a copy of it? I mean.
for me to read it?
Yeah, I think we should read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
To fund the Cape Housing Institute, $7,500 from the Affordable Housing Reserve. Fund the Eastham Affordable Trust, 400,000, 300,000 from the Affordable Housing Reserve, and 100,000 from the undesignated fund balance. The Housing Assistance Corporation fund at 100,000 from the undesignated fund balance. Why would that not? There's not sufficient money in the housing reserve fund, right? Okay, got it. CPC administration, 40,000, 10,000 out of each of the reserves of affordable housing, open space, historic preservation, and active recreation. The property survey project at 40,000 from historic reserves. The conservation commission purchase of property at 50,000 from open space reserves. Wiley Park project at 55,000 from active recreation reserves. And the town hall renovation for 680,000 from the undesignated fund balance.
And I just want to, thank you, Carolyn. I just want to make sure that everybody is okay with the CPC administrative 40,000. We had a conversation about it at our last meeting about paying for that with 10,000 out of each. And that's how it's listed here, 10,000 out of each of the 4 reserves versus the administrative bucket. So let me see. So you made the motion. Let me see. Do I have a second on the?
I
approved
will
article?
second it.
Dan,
Yes.
thank you. All in favor, Carolyn,
Aye.
Eileen, Mark,
Aye.
Dan,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
Dave, me, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. Terrific. I just want to thank Tina again for, I think this is so helpful. I have never seen this information in the past when we've been discussing all of this stuff, and so I just want to thank Tina again for putting this all together for us, because I think it's really fantastic information and helpful for us to understand what we're doing here. Okay. Let me see. Where am I here? Under the, let me see, the reserve allocation, we've done that. Financial questions. I put together a list of the financial questions. I gave it to Paul, I gave it to Tina. When I met with Tina, I've given you a copy of that form, that document that I put together. And then Tina did even better and put together, passed out earlier this evening. My questions and her answers in blue. And I'm just going to comment, I have a couple of issues that I want to discuss. And then we can go over others as needed. But one of the items that Tina and I talked about, and Paul, are the plaques, not, I shouldn't call them plaques, they're the
Signs.
town signs, thank you, the CPA town signs. And when I was in Paul's office the other day, there were 3 left. And one, I think should definitely go for the lighthouse. That leaves 2. The last time Tina was able to go into the system and find out that we did order some, the last time was in 2018. And so my question is, number one, that we got them from a place called the Chatham Sign Shop. Obviously, I guess it's in Chatham. And they have the template, I guess you'd call it, for the verbiage. I have no idea how much they would cost now, because the last time we bought them was in 2018. But we will need some more. And so do we need, given the fact that we have, assuming they have a template for that sign, do we need to get quotes from other people?
For the amount, the
I-
last time I did it, I did call, and for the amount of money, we just needed to solicit 3 quotes. And that was the best price.
No,
So
You know, yeah, they don't have to be in writing. That's correct, right?
correct. I mean, I got them in writing because I was,
Yeah, they don't have to be.
so, I mean, that gets paid out of
The
the
administrative.
CPA admin,
Right,
which you
right.
don't. That can just be approved at any point during the year.
Mhm.
So I can go and get some estimates on some
Right,
new
yeah.
signs and then come back at a subsequent meeting.
Yeah, right.
And then the group could authorize that. They
Yeah,
could order them.
I think that needs to be done, because we know we'll need some more.
You have any idea how much they cost last time?
No, I forgot to look it up.
Let me see, I'm looking to see.
Wasn't-
They weren't terribly expensive.
No.
No, I don't have a cost on here.
I was just wondering. if
I'm
there's a
sure
big-
there are more, though.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah,
they
they're
are.
definitely-
The last time was 2018.
Right, but I mean, you know, are they $50 a piece or?
No, they're-
$5 a piece?
Well, in relation to the dollar amount spent.
Yes.
I was
No, they
just
weren't
thinking
50
if
or
they
100.
No, I'm sure they were more
under
than
a certain
50.
amount,
It was a few thousand. I think it was like maybe 2,000 or something, and we had 10 of them made, I think. So it wasn't huge money, but it was in the thousands.
Do a motion now to approve it if it's under a certain amount per signs, so that you don't have to come back and ask us at some other meeting.
It's up, it's up to the committee, whatever you're comfortable. You could do a not to exceed number, then
Hmm.
just,
Never mind.
How
I
many-
was just
yeah.
trying to.
No. How many signs do you think we need to order, Paul? I mean, if we take one of the ones that we have left for the lighthouse, that leaves 2 in your office. We've got 8 projects.
But they don't all
in front of us,
require
but they don't.
signs.
Oh.
I mean, I think if we ordered another 5 or we'd have,
Mhm. If we ordered 6 and the 2 that are left would give us 8.
yeah, well, it's not all of these. will
These are
have
not
signs.
all of these will require a sign.
I don't think, there's only one on their list for this year that requires a new
And
sign.
then they look and see.
Wiley Park doesn't because they already
They
have a
already have
sign.
one.
The
Yeah.
town hall already has a sign. The historic property survey doesn't require a sign. The administrative assistant doesn't require a sign. The trust doesn't. The 107 Main Street would require a sign. And Cape Housing Institute does not require a
No,
sign.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, how soon would Main Street want a sign? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put one up now, it'll get run over by a tractor.
Right.
bigger or something.
Oh, yeah, you're not gonna put up a sign until it's completed.
So unless there's
That one
signs,
might, that one, we might want to check, because they're getting CPA money from a bunch of towns, and they
Right.
want to just have one
Just one
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Have
don't
all
think
these
we-
5 different signs.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have 2 signs in your office, taking up space, so I think we probably can let it go for another
Yeah,
year or
yeah,
2 or
So-
3.
the Cole Road
Yeah,
would need a sign.
you see, 1, 2,
Does Massasoit have a sign already?
That should get
Yeah,
a sign.
yeah, 1, 2,
We don't yet, but that,
3, 4.
So now we're down to 1 sign.
Yeah.
So I think we probably should order,
Yeah, I think
you know.
we need to order some.
Right.
even if we don't use them for a year or
So,
two.
well,
Well,
he has 2 left over from 2018, so.
He doesn't need space.
I know, I was waiting for you to pick them up to install them.
Right. I was gonna ask you to bring one down tonight so we could see it. And actually Tina had, and when we were chatting the other day, I was thinking it might be a good idea to bring one to the town meeting. Stick it up there and let people see it. I mean, you know.
Sure.
when we're-
Maybe, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So someone maybe want to make a motion to order 5 signs?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Janet?
Yes. Do we want all of our signs to be consistent in appearance? And if so, that might be an incentive to go back to the same place that did our original ones and that has a template. But if it doesn't matter whether they all sort of look the same, then that wouldn't be a factor.
We do want them to all
Yeah.
look the same, and using the same template is important.
And I would think that since they have the template, that would be cheaper automatically than somebody starting from scratch. That's just
Yeah,
my,
but you may still have to satisfy
yeah, the 3, yeah,
the 3.
Whatever's required.
yeah, the 3
under
quotes,
Procurement, right.
yeah.
Paul just went to go get a sign.
Oh. Oh, I didn't mean for him to do that. I was. Oh, dear. Here we are.
Comes Vanna.
Here comes Vanna.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
that's
They're
nice.
nice.
Oh, they're lovely signs.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we authorize Paul to buy 5 signs at a cost of up to $2,500.
I second the
Yeah,
motion.
yeah. Up to 20, Dan, up to.
I
20.
would, I, maybe a little bit more,
Yeah, yeah.
just in case. 'cause I don't
That's
know.
500
How
bucks.
much, Paul?
How much did he, how much did he say?
500
500.
for 5. That would be
500 a sign.
500 a sign.
Bucks.
I never, I misheard him.
Yeah.
Carve one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Well, they're kind of gold. you know,
So,
plated.
so Dan, you've made a motion to approve up to,
To
25.
buy 5 signs
5
at a
signs.
cost of up to $2,500
Right, yeah. To be paid from the administrative account.
to be paid from the administrative account.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Dan and that's Dave. Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Dan,
Yes,
Janet,
Yes.
Aye.
1, 2, what are we down to 6, is it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the other item that I want approval for is I received in the mail the other day, an email rather. A bill from the Community Preservation Coalition, here it is. And I don't ever remember paying one in the past. But again, I checked with Tina and we've been paying it since 2008. And back in 2008, it was $1,500. Now it is $3,500. Like everything else, it goes up.
What's it for?
to, well, they have webinars, they provide information.
dues,
It's dues, yeah, it's dues. Okay, yeah. And we've been paying it every year since 2008, but I've never, was not aware of it until I got this in the mail, email. Do I have a motion to approve the payment? Again, this would be from the administrative account. Do I have a motion to approve the annual membership dues of $3,500 for the Community Preservation Coalition?
So moved.
Let me see.
Second,
So Dan is one and some,
And
five
Janet.
people,
Right.
five people seconded. So Janet, I'll put your name down. So all in favor of paying the $3,500, Carolyn,
Aye.
Eileen, or Dan,
Aye.
yeah, Janet,
yes.
Dave, me, 7-0. Okay, do you need a copy of this or? Tina, because I don't know. Do you get this or? It came to me at email.
I don't think I received it.
Mm, mm.
Unless it got pushed into my junk mail or something.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, okay,
If you can send it to Paul, then he can. get
Okay.
paid.
yeah, okay, I'll send it to Paul. Okay, now, back to the financial questions. I didn't know whether anybody had any other questions, comments, etc., in regards to what I put together for my questions and Tina's responses. And I know you haven't had a chance to look at it necessarily, but
I have one question.
yeah.
Your question was, where are the CPA monies invested in? And the reply was Cape Cod Five Bank. What kind of a fund is it? I mean, do we actually make any money off of having it?
We do, we have an investment income and that's listed here on this top page, our report, the investment income. And I was telling Mary, I got quite excited and I even called the treasurer to make sure I wasn't reading the numbers right. It went from the investment that we get from that went from 0.01% to 2.75%. So
Whoa.
we're making money again. Because we used to make a lot of money with that and it hasn't done so well the past couple of years, but it's coming back.
Good. Yeah. Interest rates are rising slowly. Yeah. Any other questions? I'm sure, Tina, if you have questions and because you haven't seen her responses and you haven't seen my original questions to her, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with her.
I do just want to point out one thing that's kind of in here and kind of what we're talking about tonight. Just so you understand, if you go home and you start processing this meeting. Tonight in the your cash, your CPA cash balance, you have your reserves and you'll see what they are. At town meeting, when we vote, those reserves, those 10%, that 114,000 will be added to this amount. And these votes that we also voted on, paying for the reserves will come out of that. So that's, it kind of all comes together right after town meeting that I add those reserves and I also take away whatever you voted to use in those reserves. So I just wanted to explain that little accounting.
You
part
add the 10%
to it.
to it, and then you subtract from it what, depending upon the category,
Yes,
the amount that we have approved to pay for out of that category.
yes.
Yeah.
So those will stay the same. And that's another question I wanted to ask you guys. If Mary's tied this up with a bow and we're not meeting, am I still sending the monthly cash reports out to you guys? I'm happy to do so.
I'm a numbers person, so I would like to see them.
So-
I'm not sure what other people.
I think it's a good idea.
I think so.
and keep you in the loop so that these reserves will stay the same.
Mhm.
The other numbers will change until town meeting and then you'll see a switch.
Mhm.
But then we'll be almost meeting again and we can talk about it.
And maybe between now and whenever, some of these things get paid off and those get taken away and I mean, the unexpended get removed and moved into where they belong. Yeah, and then I can be a pain in the neck for some people when they don't follow through.
Chase them down. But if you have, you can read over my answers, and if you have any more questions, you can certainly email me and I can help you.
I don't have any questions.
Well, I want to thank you again for putting your answers on here and I think all of this has been very helpful for me, so I hope it's been helpful for everybody else. I have, I'm going to go on to the agenda. I have review status of ongoing CPA projects. But I think we've talked about them. The Nauset Lighthouse, the town clerk, 580 Massasoit and Cape Housing, so. We'll keep working on that. I'm on to number 7, other business, and the first item on here is the RFP 5-year plan, and Paul and I did talk about that. As we all know, we have put monies in to hire a CPA administrator. That's the 40,000 that's in our plan for this coming year for town meeting, and assuming that that gets passed, and I think Paul and I are talking about hiring somebody to use that money to hire somebody, administrative person. So if it's passed in May and we hire somebody in the summer after a town meeting, and then that person has a chance to look over the RFP that we have from prior year, the last 5-year plan. So that brings us into the fall, and then fall of 23. Then if we discuss an RFP going out in the fall of 23 and having somebody in place for the beginning of calendar year 24 to work on it in the calendar year of 24 and have it ready for approval at town meeting May of fiscal year 24, the end of May of 24. That would be fiscal year 25. That's sort of what we discussed, and I just wanted to let you know that that's what we're working on. I think in the meantime, it might be good for all of us to look over the plan that's in place right now that we did a while back. And maybe there are areas that you feel need to be changed, or depending upon what we're working on at the time and what we've been working on since it was put in place. So that when we get to the point where we start discussing it in the fall of 23, that if you have things that you feel need to be included or taken out, et cetera, we'd be interested in knowing your thoughts. Does anybody have any questions on that? For progress, that process, or that timing? Okay, I have one other question before I ask for an adjournment. Who is responsible for putting together the summaries for the warrant for each one of these articles?
Me.
You do the summaries for the warrant?
I do it and then it gets reviewed. Tina looks at it, Rich looks at it, Jackie, town meeting, the town council, everyone gets a look
No,
at it.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that me or somebody, I just didn't know who did it, so.
I do it,
Yeah.
unless you want to do it.
No. I'm
After you
happy
get,
to
after
do
you put the signs in,
I'm sorry.
after you put the signs in, I will work on the summaries. I'm just kidding with you.
No, I'm happy to do whatever needs to be done to help out. And I just didn't know who did it, so. Is that,
Paul's always done a really good
oh,
job.
I'm sure he always has. I'm sure he has. I just didn't know who did it and wanted to make sure that I knew who did it.
Usually, all I really do is I just take the language from the applicant's
submission?
submittal, just get the summary of what the project
Mhm,
was.
mhm. Okay. So based on what we have accomplished today, the town meeting is on Saturday, May 6th at the football field at the high school. Election is May 16th. Do we need, and that was another reason why I asked about the summaries. Do we need to meet again until town meeting?
I don't think so, but I would just keep the March meeting penciled in just in case something comes up, but I think we're pretty well covered, better than in other years, because Tina remembered to get all these votes done.
Mm.
So, but just in case,
So we'll put down as a hold. You see, that's March.
yeah, I would say that we don't need to meet.
I'm trying to remember what the date is in March. It's the 9th. Is it the 9th?
No,
The 8th is the 8th is
Is
3, 4, 5, it's the 8th.
So it'd be the first.
first, just like this month.
Okay, I was into the second week,
28 days has February.
March 1st. Okay.
And
So,
we don't have to meet in April and we don't have to meet in May.
right. So we'll just hold on our calendars, March 1st. So Wednesday at 5, just in case. Anything else that anybody needs to discuss? All in favor of, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn? So move. Eileen,
Second.
second, Dave. All in favor, Carolyn,
Yes.
Eileen, Mark, Dan,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 0.
East End Housing.